I love being in the studio. There's something really good about 5 people in a room just bouncing ideas around and creating something out of nothing. I'm eternally grateful. You can go in there with a couple of little ideas and in an afternoon come out with a great song. But they will not free me. It surprises me that people are still interested after so long. During the 90s, it definitely became a bit of a joke. It was a bit of a pantomime, and which totally devalued the music. But I think that's gone now, and then now people are looking back and thinking they did make some great albums, you know, which is part of the reason why I left, because it's okay doing a pantomime, it's fine, but there was no place in that for me. You know, I just stood at the back and played the bass, so, you know. When I left, there was a real couple of years of adjustment. But I think I'm a different person now. I don't think I could work with the people in the Fall anymore. No.
Yeah, we are the Fall, and we are the best.
Waleed lives in Baghdad. He wants to hear the Fall. Penelope is a teacher. She lives in Honey Grove, Texas, and heard the Fall on the BBC World Service. Sebastian works in Hamburg. He's a doctor and roams the internet in search of Fall information. Not all the time, mind. Jeff does the same. He lives in Ipswich. He has compiled an authoritative Fall discography. William is my son. He said, "The Fall's LPs don't really need sleeve notes, Dad." He's right, of course. And that, my friends, my mates, is a quote from John Peel, and that adorns the Fall's Light User Syndrome. And this is the album we're getting into today. And Steve, I don't know if you're like me, it's more like a heavy user syndrome, the amount of times I've been spinning this and having to spin this one.
Yeah, it's gone on and on. It's a long album, so I don't know how many times I've successfully played it cover to cover, but I've listened to them all many times.
Yeah, this one is so we're in 1996. We're catching up with the band after a couple of changes in the lineup, and this lineup is coming out with it almost a perfect hour-long album. And it's kind of interesting because I think about this one because it is almost at that perfect hour mark related to Hex Induction Hour. And it's not to say that this one's even close to the quality standard of Hex Induction Hour or even the interest level of that album. But I do think this album is extremely interesting in its own right because of the changes that have taken place, because of the new kind of sounds as far as vocalists we get, and also because the Fall are back to playing guitar music. And I like that. And I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, it's a good rockin' album. Not too heavy on the synth noise machine. Yeah.
Not too much.
No, not too much. I mean, plenty of synth, but not the oddities that they were dabbling in for the last couple.
The thing is, we're just coming from Cerebral Caustic, right? And we were both talking about how on that album, they kind of go back to their garage roots in some ways. And they were, at least I was hearing that they were getting a little bit of their Fall edge back after the Machine era. And this one is like straight up, I think, them going back to their roots once again, but them going back to their artistic experimental a little bit roots. And there are, of course, some pop ditties on here, but this is the first album in a while in the 90s where they've actually kind of gone a little bit more obscure and maybe more dissonant in their sound. And I really like that when they do go to that kind of sound on this album, it really is very it's nice to hear them go and show that they still have that ability and that interest in that stuff. Do you hear that at all?
It does separate itself from the other kind of 90s rock music that
Mm,
was so popular at this time with
mm,
it's nice to have the rock and roll eccentricities instead of it being all the machines making it different and unique. It's nice to go back and do it with rock music versus other instruments that
mm.
they were pulling in, the standard what you're used to them experimenting with.
Yeah, the weirdness is coming back, and it was that's not to say that Cerebral Caustic doesn't have elements of that, but not in the way of, like, the fall sound, and, this one I think is getting there on tracks like Hostile and even the Ballad of Jay Drummer, they get into the weird territory where you're like, "Wow, I haven't heard a song like that, from The Fall in a long time that's like a minimal Mark experience, a Mark kind of poetry experience, soundscape that's minimal, and it almost just puts him at the front. It's kinda cool, and I think this is also an album of a tale of 2 sides of an album where the front part, A side is gonna really it hits hard, and the B side is kind of like an exploration zone where you can really replay the B side over and over again and probably like it more and more as you listen to it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I got into just some trouble spinning it. I think I just kept going back to track number one and like trying to get all the way to 15. And it did work better when you picked up at the interlude and played the back half, not necessarily
Yeah.
by itself, but, by itself to listen to those versus you've already been 7 songs in and you've got, 8 more to go. You're kind of like, okay, I'm getting a little overdone here.
I mean, this is where as we go through this album, and I think we're just gonna jump into it right away here, but we got a lot to cover, and I think we're gonna realize really quickly that there are a number of songs on this track list that probably are not necessary to the overall story that's being told by The Fall at this point in their discography in 1996. I think there's a couple, that it would have been fine as singles or maybe even just completely, you know, left to be maybe cooked a little longer on the flame, maybe get a little bit more of an interesting idea going.
Yeah, it seems like they certainly had the CD in mind over the LP when they put all these together.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I like that even on Discogs, the style listed for this album is left field and indie rock, but left field. I mean, that's good. Who do we got, Steve, on this line at this point in time in the fall? Who do we got playing on the Light User Syndrome?
Yeah, so this is recorded at the Dairy in London in early 1996. We have Marky Smith, Brick Smith, Steve Hanley, newcomer Julia Nagel on keyboards and guitar,
Mhm,
Cy Wollstonecroft on drums and some computer programming, maybe just regular
mhm.
programming. I don't know. Carl Burns, drums, guitar, vocals. Some special guest vocals, Lucy Reimer and Mike Bennett.
Yeah, Lucy Rimmer and maybe and Mike Bennett, who's also the producer.
Producer, yep.
Yeah, and he also produced Cerebral Caustic. So, along with Marquis Smith, of course. And so second album that he's produced and he's also singing on this, which is kind of interesting choice to get him on there. We don't have Craig anymore and we don't have Dave Bush anymore. And it's really interesting because they go into the studio and basically from Simon's point of view, from Funky Si's point of view, he says, I could tell that, of course, Brix is going to do her thing and bring the songs that she's got going. But he said he could tell that Julia and Carl were coming into the studio and kind of feeling like they were going to become like the next tier of songwriters for the fall for the band, and they were going to show up and start writing a lot of the songs and getting a lot of the credits to their name. And I just find that really fascinating because even Sai was like, I saw this happening and I was kind of like, oh God, like,
Yeah.
like what are we going to do now? Like, cause he liked Dave Bush, of course. And of course he liked Craig, but it's kind of interesting that with Craig leaving, they even get more guitar heavy, and even Julia is playing guitar and Carl plays guitar on at least one song I know for sure, but maybe probably a couple songs. And there's a couple covers on here, and Carl does one of the covers, and you're like, wow, they are really scattershot as far as what their focus is. And it kind of works for a cool album and a cool listen because it is so varied and diverse and like a huge spectrum that they're kind of hitting on. It's just interesting when the band fluctuates in who the lead songwriters are, and it really changes what is appearing on wax or the CD as far as what the fall sound becomes, even though it's always the fall sound. Yeah, what do you think about the keyboards? There is some programming, right? There is a little bit of electronic music, but what do you think about the overall sound of this album?
Yeah, I enjoyed it throughout. I think it's varied enough where, like you said, there's some pop ditties in there. There's some, the song where the two guest singers come in and that just kind of throws you for a loop.
Yeah.
I think it blends. I don't know if it's cohesive as a certain project, but I do think they do work well together where, you're getting a little bit of the left field and then you get a couple of
Yeah.
easier to digest tracks that you can settle in with.
Yeah, and I will say that it's no secret that Marky Smith at this point was heavily influenced by his alcohol intake, and it really shows itself on the performances. But in this situation on this album, I don't think it even takes away from the performances. It somehow works. And I think it's because maybe he was in a state that allowed for the band to actually do the things they wanted a little bit more. And then he was just like, yeah, that's fine. He was almost like he was like put into a little bit of a structure of focusing on the words because he didn't have all the extra energy to be combative fully and like try to fight for things he didn't really care about because he had like this kind of rounded offness of his personality from all of his intake.
Yeah, I mean, once you start kind of having the eye opener, cocktails or beverages, you're not really be able to focus too much all day, huh?
No, no. The productivity is going down, and that might have allowed Bricks or even Carl and Julia to take the helm a little bit, and of course Steve.
I
And
even see that the helm is open, right? You're like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
he wasn't around.
Hmm.
He always skipped off to the pub to let them do the dirty work, but even more so now where, well, no one's really driving the ship. Somebody's got to do it. So, might as well take advantage of the moment.
I think that was it too, because I think there was a lot of oh, Mark isn't even showing up, right? Like it's not like he's gonna come back. Like there was a lot of not showing up or him having to do the vocals and like at the last minute and things like that, where it sounds very off the cuff and like one take or two takes. Even the guest vocal appearances, I think it sounds to me like they're straight one takers, and then they're just like, "Well, that's good," and they might have been a placeholder and just kept it. And it's really, I like that. I like when they do that, even if it's not like probably the best performance. I like that it's that raw.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's better that it's not like they didn't bring in two vocal professionals to try to sing a fall song
Yeah.
for some reason. Like that way, it wouldn't really make any sense.
Yeah, the fall is always better when it's not overdone. and we get some stuff that's not done at all, and it's undercooked. And that's a good way to get into the first track when we're talking about some DIY meat.
I mean, that's a big old open flubby bass line in the background
Oh
there.
yeah. I mean, I like that the first two songs on this album are just so ripping with that fat ass bass line. It's so blown out. It's almost like there's no high end at all. It's just a
No,
rumble. It's like I think even Steve Pringle in his book, this was the album. I think it's the next song, the Das Vulture, but he calls it the flatulent Steve bass. It's the
yeah, it
Steve
sounded
Hanley. Yeah,
exactly.
it's really that. But to lead off an album with this, and you heard it for the first time, I know when I heard it, I was like, "Fucking finally, fucking right. We finally are back. We're finally back to rock and roll fall." And even the keyboard is great, right? The woo woo woo. It's not innovative sound, but it's a nice new keyboard sound for the fall, connected to or playing off of the distorted jangle guitar. Oh man,
Yeah, the speed is great, just super fast. Keep going.
2.5 minutes to open off the album. I
Talking
like. I'm
about a
like,
handyman.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's get into some of the lyrics on this album in general. This is maybe like one of the first albums where, for me, Marquis Smith becomes a little bit hard to understand across the board as far as his slurring performance. It's harder for me to catch stuff on this album, so I had to kind of go obviously listen to it a bunch, but this is like where I'm really consulting the lyrical work of fall.org and other places. Because what do you like about this song lyrically, Steve? What is like really catching you?
I mean, he's telling a story, but it's all over the place. Like, why is he in a tent?
He gets out of the tent
And his garden is
to
covered in
start the
cement.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why? So he's sleeping in a tent in his backyard?
Yeah, I mean, I picture like kind of almost like a get kicked out of the house or
Sure.
homeless living lifestyle. And it's he said I'm a handyman, but then he's the handyman too, and he's like hanging around a grave. He sees the handyman, and this handyman is chatting with his wife, so there's a little bit of the jealousy, and he just got kicked out of the house. Maybe he's sleeping out in the
Oh,
tent.
yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "What the like, why are you talking to my wife?" And then she's like, "Oh, no, he's fixing the plumbing in the house
Yeah, you
on,
didn't the things you said you were gonna do
yeah,
last year, and you still haven't got around to it.
yeah, he's taking care of a lot of things in here, and, no, you still stay out there. You stay out there." And, it seems like the guy that is the character that's telling this from this perspective, it seems like he knows he deserves to be out there.
He's more
He's like
comfortable anyways.
He's more comfortable. I mean, it's all working out for the best for him to be in that element, probably. Get to do his
Yeah,
activities. Yeah.
and then
Um,
they're just towards the end, it's just basically, yeah, he's just banging his wife. Conditions not good job.
yeah, yeah. Just
Just
bang around, just
just
bang around. Ha, 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 ha. Just laughing about it. Yeah. It's almost like a sad laugh, like of a laugh of, my life is really, this is what it is. This is what it is. Yeah, man, I like the way that starts off the album. I can't complain. It's one of the most best starts for the past half decade, I'd say.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't always like to start good,
Strong.
strong. Now you're just like, why did you pick that? How is that number one?
I know. But they don't stop there, Steve, because they follow it up with another riffing, banging, especially bass line.
Das Vulture ans in Nutterwan.
I'll make you say it.
That's all proper pronunciation.
Yeah. Let's get into Das Vulture. So we know Mark loves to speak German, even though he knows absolutely no German at all. But it kind of just raises the question, why didn't he just run to the pub or multiple pubs and just walk into the doorway and say, "Does anyone here know German? Does anyone here at all know German? And can anyone just transcribe basically 10 lines of lyrics for me, please?"
I think he likes. I think he makes it that he thinks he's edgy when he's doing it.
He obviously loves the sound of German. I think he just loves the sound because I know it's a cool sounding song. What are we getting out of it lyrically? Parson's Prayer, so few and far between, down and out, carry on, clown, paint your face and close your mouth. That's great. That's all basically we get besides the word gesture and vulture. What are we getting out of this?
Yeah, exactly.
This story.
This is just transference for Hanley's bass.
I'm all for the music in this one. The music is all working out just fine for my ears. It's just, and it's a great second track. I mean, I'm not complaining about track 1 or track 2 on this album. It's all going forward in a nice way. I'm just wondering, Mark might have just been a little bit too lubricated for the idea of what he would bring into this one. Because, man, Steve Hanley just found that bass tone different but the same. Like, different than the first track, but also kind of the same, right? It's just a little more present. And also the mixing of this album is muddy, but I like it. I like the way that this album sounds. It's finally not polished and
Exactly. Yeah.
in a weird way. Yeah.
And like I think you said, they had the room to kind of do what they wanted more so than I think in the recent years.
The annotated fall, I don't think knew. I think they said it could have been like a play on the sound of the words. The vulture is in the nutter wing, the nutter.
The Nutterban, the name.
Well,
R.I.P. R.I.P. Annotated Fall.
yeah, I'm sure Dan will get into that one too. He's been working hard. We'll just say that's future research material. I think they've done enough. I think they've done enough, and I don't think there's anything to the German background of that one. But Steve, let's get into track 3. Let's not stop the train right here. Let's get into Heat Pep.
I don't want
Sounds like they brought the machines back for that one.
Yeah. The best thing about The Fall is they make you contradict yourself from song to song. And it's only because I'm not even contradicting myself. The Fall is a walking contradiction, and that's what I like about them. Because this song is the almost the opposite of the last song where Mark is delivering this really cool, lyrically dense in I have to just assume connected to he even says, "I believe there's a new drug out. It's called speed. I wrote a song about it, conceptually a la Bowie." It's like this is the good references, self-references, telling the bass player to go upstairs in the bad house. It's all so cool. Everything about it is so cool. The synth at the beginning, the first half of the song is too much for me. I wanted almost to just be the guitar, the bass, Bricks yelling in the background, and Mark doing his thing. That synth that's going up and down, it's too much movement, and then the back half I know a bunch of people love this song, and I love it too, but not for the music part because that synth but the second half, it kinda calms down, and it makes the song so much better.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot. It's busy, and I mean he's delivering hard and strong lyrics,
Mhm.
almost completely. It's not separate from the music at all, but like he's louder than he has been, and it's he's almost screaming into the microphone.
Yeah, it's like he's possessed, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pumped. He's got his that pep.
Yeah, he's even talking about to his manager, and he's like, "Instead of our new 45 girlies on a brown tonguer." I don't know what he's talking about, but I like that. I don't is it like a brown, like, sleeve that the 45 single is in? It's just like the little slang is really cool because it's, like, not him, but it is him. Everyone says, "Please," anyways, is a waste of life. Wait to say it in Lancaster. You Pep, you had the best summer, and now it's wearing off. No more excuses for your traitorism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weird little ending where it's almost like it's a recording or something that they attach at the end.
You had the best summer. And now it's wearing off. No more excuses for your traitorous.
Yeah, I like that. It goes like lo-fi, right? Like
Yeah.
almost a demo mode or it goes into yeah, I like the way that that ends a lot. And are they gonna continue the hot streak in track 4, Steve?
They got it? Hostile? Are you ready for some hostility?
Not to spoil it, but they fucking keep the train going again. Hostile.
Would be the perfect beginning to like a movie of like with the
Mm,
Brooks's haunting vocals and
mm.
just the beginning starts out so big and epic sounding, and then they just start describing like this basically hostile, it could be like
Yeah.
a rogue agent. Now they're coming to hunt him down.
Mhm. Mhm. It's kinda like a rogue agent of some religious entity. NC members are wonderful people. He says, "For years, they have believed we were inspired by the Holy Spirit and the work of God. They call us shadowy, anti-hostile. They demand to know with a touching, naive faith of the individual, hostile, the hostile." Musically, this is cool, like very cool. It's very up my alley. It's the slow march towards darkness, and then you get a very, very trebly bricks da 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 in the background that has a weird effect on it that on her voice. Do you ever notice that? It has a
Yeah.
weird effect where it's a clicking sound. It's almost like they have the reverb set a little too quick with the slapback. So it's like clicking, right? It's like and it's almost as usual. Her voice as a background vocal, it just seems like I think she was just that good, where it seems like it's a sample, just repeated. But I think she was just that good at just repeating the phrasing almost
Oh yeah,
exactly the
I
same.
think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they were. I don't want to say they didn't have the capabilities, but that's just not what they were doing. They weren't.
No, I mean, Dave Bush is gone, right? So, I mean, that's the man to do it. That's the man to do it. I mean, Simon was doing some programming, but I believe that was drum programming. Yeah, Hostile. That's cool. That's real fun. I know what you're saying about it's almost like a narrative, like a preface to a very cinematic scene. I definitely know what you're
Yeah, like
talking
just
about.
like you see the hostile, even just
Mm,
getting ready for the day, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
this is just the kind of
preparation.
the preface to what
Mm,
it is.
yeah,
Now we're
Smoky.
now we're old, the elite of the damned.
That's cool. The elite of the damned. Not just the damned souls or the damned, but the elite of the damned, which is what is that? Is that worse? I
I
gotta
mean,
assume that's
depends.
worse.
You wanna
You're controlling the damned?
if you're going to hell, you might as well be in the top tier
If you yeah, you get burnt the most
first.
luxurious way to get burnt up and singed up and tortured for the rest of eternity. Yeah. You
Yeah,
pay the
maybe
big bucks for
you
that.
get some choice. You know what? Well, how do you want to be tortured today?
Oh, no. Surrounded by rich people, please.
Yeah, of course. Oh,
Oh, not
keep
not not by poor people,
keep
please. I would
keep the
yeah.
pores away. This is first class hall.
It's just like, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you. This
no,
is so much better.
has that hot poker hasn't been inside any poor people, has it?
Oh
Because
yeah,
I can't have it be
yeah. These people surrounding me are wearing nice jewelry and you know pleated pleated pants, feeling much better about ah, this everlasting this everlasting torture that I'm going to be going through, surrounded by my people, fucking generic ass people. Okay, that's cool. So, Steve, we're about halfway through side A. How are you feeling so far?
I mean, I like the first three, got me going. Hostile
Yes.
brought me back down. I'm feeling a little bit leveled out. I'm ready to see what's next.
Okay. What would you like, you know, to happen next? You just been chilled out a little bit.
Chilled out a little bit, I mean, we're five tracks in. Seems like it's about time for a cover song.
I'm surprised they waited that long. And honestly, now that we're talking about it, I think the reason why I like the start of this album so much is because there hasn't been a cover song.
Not that the cover songs are bad, but
No.
why? Why do you?
Why does it have to be so early? Why does
Yeah.
it have to ruin it?
uh,
I want original.
Why exactly? Why in general? Like this isn't a band where
No,
you're really in it for the music outside of
no.
you're in it for Mark's lyrics plus the music, not necessarily the music in someone else's lyrics.
Their music is so original when they do it, but then they have this need to cover songs and they like you said, they don't do it bad. It's always fun, but it's never something where you're like, "Oh, that's the what I want to listen to from them." Right? Almost rarely. Almost rarely I'll say do they really nail the cover. Where they nail it and you're like,
Or yeah,
"Wow, that's really
or
interesting and unique."
exactly. Unique is the key word. They don't ever really change it enough for it to become a fall song. It's just a cover song. Like,
Well, let's get into Johnny Paycheck's Stay Away Old White Train.
When I was a young man, yeah, I really knew it all. When I was young like this, yeah, I really knew it all. So if you listen to another heart, you might see that hole before you fall.
Yeah, the first time this one came on, I was utterly confused. I don't think Mark could do that voice.
But you don't remember. You didn't recognize. You didn't recognize the sound of old Bok Bok.
Bok Bok, Mike Bennett.
No, Bok Bok. Carl Burns.
Oh, is that who's singing it? I thought it was Mike
Yeah.
Bennett singing it. Oh,
No, that's Carl. That's Carl singing this
oh,
one.
okay.
Old Bok Bok. And for those of you that are not familiar with Bok Bok, that's something you're gonna have to catch up with us on a Patreon and get up to date on Bok Bok. But Carl Burns is singing this one, and this is this is like going back to what we said at the beginning. This might have been some open free studio time that Carl Burns just took advantage of. But the thing is that the thing that I like about this song, I don't need it. It's not necessary. I don't require this song to be played maybe ever again for me. But I do like that it sounds like he plays the entire guitar riff with one finger. Like there's no other, there's just one finger, index finger on that guitar doing the single note little down 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 down, and I just like listening to that and just laughing a little bit to myself and be like, yeah, you did it, Carl. You just riffing out that. I mean, it could have been easily Bricks helping him out, but I just think that this is a Carl project. This is a Bach Bach project by itself. A song about cocaine. It's not a bad choice for content, especially in the fall world, but I like his singing, honestly.
Yeah,
His
no,
singing
it's
is
it.
so fucking good.
He delivers it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It almost reminds me of a little bit of a Jonathan Richman Modern Lovers delivery. Yeah, I like it, and especially as a quote unquote guest vocalist, even though he's in the band, you don't get to hear Carl singing that often. So for me, I like that we have it as a guest vocalist, especially when you compare it to some of the other guest vocal performance deliveries on this album. Johnny Paycheck getting some royalties from the fall. I wonder how far if his song got back in the charts because of
Ha.
the Carl Burns cover. As much as that one is, maybe not earworm, this next one is the complete opposite and is just gonna be drilled into your skull for a couple days. So let's just let that happen. Just open it up, open those canals, and let's get into Spine Track.
Schizophrenia. He also thinks he's a man. His other half is his sidekick. The man from Escom is a schizophrenic.
Sounds like they're back in LA.
This Mark starting off the song with his megaphone police siren. But isn't this one like maybe for my money, I think this song is Bricks doing her thing to the pinnacle of poppiness and catchiness within the fall. I think the song kind of hits all of the check boxes for her, but actually somehow works perfectly within the context of the fall.
I like all of Bricks's contributions. I mean, it has that kind of that almost like that newer pop punk feel that's not going to come out for a couple more years where you're
it's really because of Bricks's hook vocal melody, the repeating of You Are My Spine Track, in combination with Spine Track being not a thing that is easily processed by your by your brain, that it makes it a a great fall song, because if she said "You Are My Sugar" or something, or "You Are My Candy," right, or something that is so poppy centric, then you'd be like, wow, that's a really, poppy, catchy song. But because it's spine track, and because it's weird, and because it's cool, and it's talking about schizophrenia, and the man from SCOB and his other half is his sidekick, it's all this weird shit. The sideshow begins. It's just fucking good. It's good. It's like its own thing. And this is what go back to that little genre that the Fall are apparently in, left field. This is a left field song, right? It's in the ballpark, but it's playable.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely, especially if you're not paying attention to all the weird shit that they're talking about.
Mhm. Yeah, this is one I could definitely hear playing on the radio and people being like, "Man, I like that," or you know, a middle-aged mom being like, "Oh, I gotta listen to that Brick song again. Put that on,"
Yeah.
and they have no idea what this is. I mean, no one really knows what spine track is, but if you gotta go off of just the rough s estimation, it's kinda, that spinal juice. That's that juice that's giving you that little bit of, I don't know, it could be giving you any sort of, feeling, aphrodisiac, or, like,
Yeah.
love, or even some kind of.
I don't know. I just like imagine a back, right? Like looking
Yeah.
at somebody without a shirt on, like walking out the track of their back, like a railroad
Ooh,
track of
yes, yeah,
their spinal column. Like
yeah. A
again,
literal
a literal my spine
Mhm.
track. But yeah, what you are my spine track?
You Are My Spine Track. That's why it's the extra. There's a little bit of the creepiness to it that it actually works perfectly, right?
Spine clicked and came out of its
Mm.
box. May the sideshow
Yeah.
begin.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely one of the, like you said, you could imagine maybe you left this CD in your car
Mhm.
and now your mom's picking you up from basketball practice and she's singing along to it. She's sitting there humming, "You are my spine track." You're like, what is going on, mom? Why are you singing this?
Yeah,
She
yeah.
fell in love.
And there's also this repeated reference to the young lad from SCOM, and SCOM, all I could find was SCOM is a South American electric public utility known as SCOM until 1986. So we know Mark is a world traveler, probably not to South Africa, but who knows? His characters are. That's for damn sure. But
You
that
think? I feel like, yeah, I don't know.
that little bit of electricity, that's what you need. A little shock to the nervous system through the spinal column. Ooh, let the sideshow begin. And
Yeah,
application pages for women's jobs. What? What is that? What is and application pages for women's jobs? Who's the other side too? Looked rather big. Sideshow begin. Yeah, it's so good. It almost kind of goes past you if you're not really. That's why it's perfect. It's a
yeah,
perfect pop nugget for the fall, man.
yeah. They worked to the Smiths worked well together there because they both took it in their own direction to really make it the perfect fall track.
Yeah, it was perfect collaboration, which is always what I think Bricks saw in Mark, and what Mark saw in Bricks is something exactly like this output. Okay, we got two left before we flip this baby over. Let's take a little break. Let's let's give ourselves over to the Chiseler, and let's get into this. I guess we call it an interlude, but let's get into 7 minutes of interlude slash chillinism.
Yeah, I really like the female backing vocals on this in the back half of the song.
I like where this song goes all over the place. It's cool. I wish it was kind of a little bit condensed
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah, I mean, take out the first 4 minute or 2 minutes of interlude for no real apparent reason.
Hmm. Yeah. Obviously the Chiseler is a single and they chose this alternate version to kind of put in here, cap it with the interlude experimentation. I like the ideas of it. I think it's a little self-indulgent when it comes to some of the choices that are made here. But isn't it such a fall move too, where I don't think at any point on the previous LPs they had a track that was like labeled. They had interludes, right? But not a track labeled as an interlude, and they do it here, and the interlude is 7 minutes long. Like that's like
Yeah,
such a that's such a move,
exactly.
yeah, that they would do as a kind of like a, you know, taking the piss out of it.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, and he's taking a piss out of a bunch of people here, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not really in a good Mark way. Like he's just calling them short.
No,
They're just up. They're all short. You're
yeah,
short.
the
You're short.
members of Pink Floyd.
The Stones are short. Mr. Grumbly in a white Ferrari, short.
I like when all the different sections of the song kick in, right? Even at the end, I think that basically with the like 30 seconds left in the song, you get some cool musical
They
lo-fi distorted music coming
they
in.
do. If you're willing to put the effort in, it only gets better.
Yeah.
Like
No, I agree. I agree. I
uh,
agree.
just click to 3 minutes and start it, and you'll be a lot happier.
Yeah. I think that that beginning section does give you a little bit of the battering that you need to appreciate the 3-minute mark. It does like it makes you have to go through something and open your ears, and then your ears get hit with something that's a little more riffing. And
Yeah.
some of these lyrics are cool, right?
Yeah, no, they are. I just
Yeah.
wish he was actually insulting people like he usually does.
Yeah. Yeah.
He usually has just such like a specific thing he's pissed off about somebody and he really wants to let him know.
Mhm. It is kind of nice in that way where you don't really of course, I mean, the Pink Floyd thing, the Rolling Stones, the Mr. Grumbly with the white Ferrari. It's like the kind of the hit list from his Black Book. At the end or towards the middle section, he says, "Dry hump in the hip club. I try to think like you do, act like you do, try to dress like you do. I thought I was you. Now you turn around, point your finger at me, say I'm the chillinest." Like that that is I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it could be in like a who's who Drake and who's the other rapper that got into the recent rap battle again?
Kendrick Lamar and Drake.
Lamar and Drake battling, hating on each other.
Mhm. But the thing is, he's not saying his name. He's not saying his name. It could be any number of dudes. And actually, I would I would hedge my bets and say that there were so many people from the Manchester scene that were probably like, you heard that song Mark
Oh,
wrote
yeah.
about me?
Uh-huh.
You heard that song he wrote about me?" And they're like, "No, that song's about me, man. I was with him and he said he wrote that." Like, it would be kind of a fun thing to take the credit for that. Everyone would want it, right? Yeah, he's talking about me on that interlude. That's not that cool. Like, not really that cool, but all right. But that's fun. Oh, I like where that's at though. It could have been easily the last of the side. It would have been perfect because that would make you want to flip it over. But we get a nice little explosion at the end of the side A. So let's get into Powder Keg.
skeleton. I had a dream, bruised and covered. It goes into hurt me. Manchester City Centre, Carolina.
So you think Mark was psychic and Colin, predicting the explosion? NRA, I think it was NRA, setting off the bomb in Manchester.
Think he knew about it? Was he in on it, or do you think he just had a psychic premonition?
That's when he kind of said that, he was just writing about, his feel, and his feel is usually right.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, he's sitting there in the pub getting the pace of the city for sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't buy any of it, to be honest. I don't think
No.
I don't think that this song is even about that at all. I like that people, the conspiracy is that he wrote it and it's directly related. I mean, not directly, but that it's the story that is very much mirrors what happened. But I don't get any of that. I don't get any of that. I think the powder keg is basically this guy that's like a bad dude that's maybe, messing with Caroline a little too much and maybe putting Caroline in danger. And she's looking for a safe spot, and this powder keg is, coming for her, or maybe if you're in his vicinity, it's gonna get dangerous. Got to get away from that. That's what I get out of this powder keg experience.
Yeah, it's not screaming political strife.
No, it's more interpersonal. I know people think this is one of maybe a classic 90s fall song. What do you think about I mean, how do you like this one?
Not my favorite. I don't really know for any particular reason why. I think it's the horn sound.
Yeah, the horn sound is weird.
I don't really like that when it's pretty much consistent throughout the whole song.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's like supposed to be like a horn, I mean, it definitely does mimic a good car horn, like traffic. Dun-dun.
Sure.
The keys, there is like a synth key part that's you can hear that's kind of just a stabbing rhythmic piano part, and I like that. I like that part, but the horn part that's high in the high side, I don't I don't get it. It's not catchy and it's just annoying.
Yeah, it's not adding. It is annoying.
No.
That's kind of where I'm at. Where I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna have to tune the whole thing out, I guess.
Yeah, the story is cool. I do like the lyrics. The song is just not rocking. It's kind of mundane in my.
Yeah, I think the horn and the mundane.
People are gonna get so upset, but I don't give a fuck. This is the way it is right here.
It's a good lyrically. It's a good song.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be more, but from what was before it, this isn't doing it for me. If it was on a different album somewhere, I'd like it a lot more. But from the prior 7 tracks to this I'm flipping it over just to get this out of my head.
There's almost like a type of song where Mark's words elevate a song into a fall top tier because of his lyrics, and this might be one that does that. I always need that little bit of fall musical interest to work with that in order for me to put it in my top tier of fall songs, and that's where it's missing it, because I'm like, this is kind of a dangerous situation and I get none of that from the music. It's almost like I'm fucking going to the grocery store. I'm going shopping with my carrier bags, and I'm not really getting any of this. Bruised in color, it's going to hurt me. Manchester City Center. Caroline, take me back. I can't get the bus. Do you know what they say? You better listen. He's a powder keg. Like, there's some sort of urgency there, and the song is just strolling along. This is Mark Wood just wanted to put these words onto a song, and I think he just picked this one. because he could. And he said, add some car
Yeah.
horns.
What do we got? What do we got that's annoying? Is my kazoo in the box?
Yeah. I mean, he did start it with the police siren. Like, it was almost Mark was trying to make the song more dangerous,
Yeah,
aggressive.
maybe that's where it's all apart.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he should have done the whole song with the megaphone. I know we don't really condone that, but it wouldn't have been maybe a bad idea just to get it ratcheted up. More guitar. I need more like distorted guitar on that one.
Yeah, just pick it up, pick up the pace, take me somewhere.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that's the one that one just really kicks live.
Yeah, I could imagine that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, so that was side A of the Late User Syndrome from 1996. We hope you enjoyed side A, and we're looking forward to side B because it does not go anywhere near what we just heard. So until next time, we are the Fall.
We are the best.